And now, live from the Macon studios of News Talk 940 WMAC, it's Your Money.
Good morning, Middle Georgia, and welcome to Your Money. We are Randy and Sherri Goss for the Rosenberg Financial Group, and as financial advisors, the main thing we do is provide retirement planning advice and manage our clients' investment accounts. So if you're looking for a financial advisor, please contact our office to set up your complimentary consultation. Our number is 478-922-8100, and we have offices in Macon and Warner Robins for your convenience. To find out more about us, visit our website, retirerelax.com, where you can read a number of special reports and listen to past radio show broadcasts. And you can sign up to receive our digital feeds, which provide great information on various subjects in a short video format. We also offer free seminars to the community, so if you're looking for a guest speaker, please give us a call and we'll get you connected with Sherri, and y'all can decide what y'all would like to talk about. And if you'd like to call into the show today, the number is 478-742-0940. And as always, you can send me an email to randy@rfmoney.com, and we will cover the question that you asked me in a future broadcast. Good morning.
Excellent.
And we're here with our lovely granddaughter, Bailey. Say hi, Bailey. She is engrossed in her tablet, and
she's doing so good.
Yep.
Really good. So just a reminder about required minimum distributions. We had a call yesterday from a woman who was with an advisor a long time ago with our firm. She's in a brokerage account, not a fee account, and she called and she says, I think I need to take a required minimum distribution out of my mutual fund. And it's an account that we're not managing. And so we're trying to get everybody on automatic annual RMDs, either monthly or once a year, so that nobody misses them. So if you have an older person in your family that turned older, 73. I'm going to be 73 really soon. I better change my language. That's getting.
It's all relative, isn't it?
There you go. So if you have a family member that turned 73 this year, you should check on them and make sure that they took the RMD. It has to be done by the end of the year, or they will pay a 25% penalty to the IRS, which is better than it used to be. It used to be 50%.
50%, and now they do authorize a way for you to capture. If you do get charged at 25%, they have found a way to let you recapture at least 15% of that if you fix it within a couple of years.
But anyways, it needs to be set up automatic into your bank account every year, either monthly or annually, period.
And, we talked about this before, but it's not the fund company's responsibility to start your RMDs.
Right.
So it's yours. So when you turn the appropriate age, 73, if you're 73 this year, you have to file for it. But it's not the fund company's responsibility. So if you get a late bill from the IRS, there's nothing you can do other than pay it.
And maybe within time.
Right, and then go back and fix it.
Yeah, go back and fix it. Anyways, the market closed up a little bit Friday. Lots going on that has an impact. So stocks pulled back on Monday as doubts crept in about the prospects for a U.S. interest rate cut. Then Friday, the November jobs report was a welcome sign for investors, betting the U.S. economy isn't on the verge of tipping into a recession. And these are the same things that keep floating around and causing the market to go up and down over and over. Data out Friday from the Bureau of Labor Statistics showed the U.S. economy added 199,000 jobs in November, while the unemployment rate ticked lower to 3.7%. Job growth was higher and the unemployment rate lower than economists had forecast, which keeps happening. This is what a soft landing looks like. RSM chief economist Joe, I can't pronounce his last name, told Yahoo Finance Live on Friday morning. This report offers crucial support to the recent market narrative that the Federal Reserve's interest rate hiking campaign could end in a so-called soft landing in which inflation retreats to the Fed's 2% target without the economy falling into a recession.
Right. Next week we should get the next iteration of the CPI and the PPI reports. And if they come in like everyone's, at least Wall Street is projecting them, that kind of will give us a really good indication, a solid footing of what we think the Fed is going to do. Of course, with the Fed, he's sticking to his own playbook like we've talked about before. So, even though the CPI and the PPI could give us additional good data,
he may still talk out of both sides of his mouth.
He just may stick to higher for longer again. That's his narrative. So anyway, goods deflation is back. And after a historic run-up in inflation, Americans are now are starting to see something that they haven't seen in 3 years, deflation. To be sure, deflation is that prices are falling is largely confined to appliances, furniture, and used cars and other goods. Economy-wide deflation is when most of the goods and services continuously fall. And that may not be in the cards right now, but we do see some minor deflation. Economists say that good prices likely to have to further fall. Sorry about that, which will ease inflation's return to the Federal Reserve 2% target, perhaps early in the second half of the year. Prices for long-lasting items known as durable goods have fallen on a year-over-year basis for 5 straight months. In October, they were down 2.6 from their peak in September, according to the data released Thursday by the Commerce Department.
So I looked at the chart, and it shows that durable goods are all the way back to normal, or what the cost was in 2020. More examples of these goods are consumer electronics, laptops, cell phones, TVs and radios, home and office equipment, furniture and appliances. From our experience, appliances just don't last as long as they used to, so I'm not sure how durable they really are in that,
a misnomer,
whether they belong in that category anymore.
Right.
But we need to go back to the simpler models that don't have so many bells, whistles, and electronics, but I digress.
Well, and I agree with you, especially in vehicles. How many massaging seats and LEDs do you need in the car? I mean,
and buttons.
I
hate the screen. I hate having to tap on a screen while I'm driving.
Yeah, they don't want
to do something.
They don't want you to use your cell phone in the car, but then they put everything in there electronic, which you've got to focus in the center of the car, and set up on the steering wheel. Put it on a HUD.
I want it all voice activated.
Put it on a heads-up display. You can just touch your keys on your steering wheel and not even look at it. I like when I have my HUD. Anyway,
right.
These price reductions have helped bring down the core inflation data, which includes the volatile food and services category. Excludes the food and services category to 3.5% in October from 5.5% in September, as measured by the Personal Consumption Expenditures Price Index, and that's the Fed's preferred inflation gauge. The prices of services such as home, rental, and car insurance continue to climb, albeit at a slower pace. They were up 4.4% in October from a year earlier, slower than the 4.7% in September, but well above the pace before the pandemic. So.
Sherri. Oh, sorry, that's me. I have been up since
Good morning.
4 o'clock. I'm wide awake, honestly. Who wants some cola? Cost of living adjustments, that is. Social Security benefits and supplemental security income, SSI payments, will increase by 3.2% in 2024. Increased SSI payments will begin with the December 29, 2023 payment. The administration will start mailing notices through the entire month of December, so it's possible that your friend or family member will receive their notice in the mail before you. Don't panic. If you don't receive a notice by January, then contact them. If you can't wait for the mailed notice and you have a computer, you can learn about your new benefit amount for 2024 by visiting the Social Security website, ssa.gov. Beneficiaries should be able to see their cost of living adjustments in the Message Center if you had an account before November 15th, 2023.
Cool. Good information. All right. So this is a good,
I'm not sure why you're reading this one.
You're right. Right. It's a good consumer update.
This
but anyway,
is critical.
It is a big one. So if you've been using hair straightener creams, listen up. New research is linking chemicals in hair straightener creams to an increased risk of uterine, ovarian, and breast cancer. Studies also suggest that frequent use of such products can negatively affect puberty and pregnancy. Currently, researchers don't know exactly what chemicals may be leading to these increased health risks. However, the Food and Drug Administration, or the FDA, suspects that one culprit may be formaldehyde, which is often used in salon-based keratin straightening creams, not to mention embalming. Formaldehyde has previously been linked to certain types of cancer. The FDA is working on a proposal that would ban these chemicals from hair smoothing treatments and straightening products.
So drugstore-bought hair straighteners and relaxers don't typically contain formaldehyde. However, some contain chemicals that can disrupt the endocrine system, such as phthalates, phenols, and parabens. Endocrine disruptors may behave like estrogen or other hormones that can lead to an increased risk of cancer, according to Dale Sandler, the chief of the National Institute of Environmental Health Sciences and Epidemiology. So I just had a thought about this. So this is being used on little kids, and I wonder if this is why I had a conversation with a client, and she is black. And so she probably uses these products. Mm-hmm. She came in to see me about 2 weeks ago, and she wanted to talk about her niece and the fact that her niece started having periods in the 2nd grade. And it makes me wonder if that's why, if it's connection between these hair straighteners and your hormones getting all jacked up And so you go into puberty faster than you were supposed to. If you talk to your friends about this, this is really critical and important. And I don't know how. I only saw this article in one place.
Yeah.
And then it was in one place and then gone. And I think it was in the Wall Street Journal?
I think it was in the Wall Street Journal. Anyway, these hair straighteners and relaxers, including cream-based products, as well as oils and lotions used for maintenance, are often used and marketed to women of color to smooth curly or wavy hair. Women who told researchers that they used hair straightening products 4 or more times a year were more than twice as likely to develop uterine cancer compared with those who did not. According to the study, that's according to the study in the Journal of National Cancer Institute.
Why don't we shut these products down now?
I know.
Why is this so hard?
It's terrible.
Take them off the shelves and put a big sign up there and tell people to quit using them and tell their hair salon to quit using them. I mean, this is dumb.
They've known for decades what the effects of formaldehyde do. Maybe they're just thinking the parts per million is not enough to affect you.
I guess.
But obviously...
I mean, if you use it 4 or more times a year and you're twice as likely to develop uterine cancer...
I think I would try something different.
I think there's a lawsuit in coming.
Right.
Anyway, Ozempic and protein shakes. Food makers prep weight loss drug side dishes. So there's a concern amongst people who produce food products that people going on all these drugs to lose weight and are eating less are not going to spend as much money. And so this is all about that. Ozempic, Wegovy, and other popular new drugs that help people lose weight by eating less. Now, food makers have spotted an opportunity. From startups to industry stalwarts, food companies are pitching their products as natural alternatives to the drugs or developing companion products for patients. As you're probably aware, Ozempic and similar drugs have surged in popularity in the U.S., sparking concern among some investors that broader adoption could threaten food company sales in years to come. Big food makers are paying attention as demand for the drugs soar, prompting questions about whether and how they will reshape American diets. Many food executives say they aren't sweating the drug's precipitous rise and that any sizable drop in calorie consumption is years away, plenty of time for companies to adapt their portfolios as they have in response to past consumer trends. Nestle, the world's largest food maker, said it is working to create companion products that could help drug patients at risk of losing muscle mass or not getting enough nutrition. Other new products could help patients avoid or limit weight gain after they stop taking the medications. New products could hit the market as soon as next year. Nestle already sells products that complement patients' diets, such as drinks, bars, shakes, and soup mixes.
Anyway, Abbott Laboratories, which makes medical devices as well as ensures shakes and powders, is designing a protein-laden nutrient drink that could boost muscle mass in weight loss drug patients. General Mills, the maker of Lucky Charms cereal and biscuit pancake mix, is working on products suited to drug patients looking for more protein in their diets. Many patients aim to increase their protein intake to offset the muscle mass that they tend to be shedding with these products.
Right. Bernstein research found that many people currently or recently on weight loss drugs are eating more protein and foods such as fruit, eggs, yogurt, soup, and cottage cheese while cutting back significantly on junk food and foods with added sugars, which I have a hard time believing this.
Well, if that's what people are going to come away with, they're on the right track.
Right. And then you can actually go off the pill and just keep eating like that.
Right.
Or the shot.
Developing new eating habits while you're on the drug will help you once you stop taking medication.
It's a big deal.
Yep.
Food analysts say many companies might take their time deciding whether and how to adapt their offerings, especially because it remains unclear how many people will start the drugs and stay on them long term.
Right. Other food companies see an opening for products, they say, that mimic the drugs, but without the pricey prescription costs.
One startup called Supergut is working to translate fervor over the drugs into sales of its shakes, mixes, and bars made from a proprietary prebiotic fiber blend, which the company calls Nature's Ozempic, which is genius. Eating certain types of prebiotic fiber boosts the production of the same gut hormones affected by weight loss drugs, naturally reducing cravings. Sales of Supergut's products derived from foods such as green bananas, potatoes, and oats have soared 50% in the past month.
Wow.
Is that crazy?
Yep.
I've never even heard of it. Supergut was originally designed for type 2 diabetes patients, and if you're interested, Supergut's products are now headed to grocery store shelves. Check with your favorite grocery store to see if they have the product.
Okay.
Oh, never mind. I'm willing to bet these products will soon be featured in stores. Supergut is also attracting people transitioning off the drugs who are eager to maintain their benefits. I don't like that slogan. I'm going to skip that. Anyways, You can already buy protein-infused pasta, which we use. I don't use regular pasta anymore. If I'm going to cook something like that, I always buy the protein pasta, and I add, instead of using mayonnaise, I use fat-free Greek yogurt.
Yeah, and it's good.
There's already lots of options out there. If you want to lose weight and eat healthier, just think outside the box.
But if you are looking for high protein or protein supplements, you can visit any of the major providers, for weight lift. Most of the people that lift weights go to like GNC or 5-Star Nutrition. They have high quality protein. So if you don't know what you're looking for on the internet, go visit a place like this that has people that are trained and they can explain the different products to you. And
I just thought of something. This might be something if you have aging parents that they can't exercise anymore, they're not eating enough. This might be some products that might be tasty to them.
Yeah.
Because there's certain things that happen as you age where your taste buds change, especially for people that have dementia. In fact, when we went to that facility off Bass Road and got the tour,
right,
they had a special dietitian just for people with dementia because they don't want to eat regular food.
Yep.
And good morning. You're on with Randy and Sherri.
Good morning. How my favorite couple doing today?
You're doing fantastic.
Yeah, this is Robin Jackson from Perry, Georgia, and I want to say hello to who that, Bailey?
Bailey. Say hey, Bailey.
Bailey. Hey, Bailey.
Hi.
All right.
She's not real chatty.
She never meets a stranger, so she'll talk to anybody. She'll talk to a signpost.
It's not anybody.
No, you're not anybody. That's not how I meant that. She's just one of these little lovable kids that never meets a stranger. We like that.
Yeah,
well, that's
great.
Yeah, she's going to be just like you all as far as going on to radio. And she's got a great voice already just by saying hi. So, all right. But I'm calling for about the direct TV.
Oh.
They're taking out Channel 13, WMAZ. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, they're off the air, and they're blaming Tetna. I guess that's the name of the company that have Channel 13.
Yep.
But what they're saying, and I guess the Channel 13 follower asking for more money, and DirecTV said they are not going to pay anymore, and so they in a stalemate on that. And also, but DirecTV, they're going up on our prices, so they're paying. We got to pay more, and now we're getting less channels. So that's, I guess, what inflation is all about. And one other thing I'd like to say before I get on.
Let me stop you right there for a second. This is a good point too, Robin. That when you get price increases like on your TV, it's a good time to go do some consumer shopping to find out what you can get for less at the competitor. So you might want to look at the different carriers in your area.
I meet people that are paying $200 a month for cable.
Oh yeah, it's horrible.
I find that to be crazy. What's DirecTV costing now?
What now?
What does DirecTV cost now?
Oh, it's high. It's over 100, maybe close to 150.
Yeah, you could probably get some subscriptions and maybe get the same stuff. Be interesting to look out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what DirecTV is telling us. As far as if you try to get WMAZ, you can get some one of those antennas and you can pick up that for free. And also they on the as for the app, you can get an app and then you can watch the news on that daily too.
And I just go online and look at it.
Right, and then
for free.
But okay, one other thing I'd like to say before, well, I guess two other things. Now, Perry, I said, and I didn't get all the way there. They're going to be in the state championship game against Stockbridge up in Atlanta in the Mercedes-Benz on this coming Tuesday. And I'm going to get this right date.
They're playing in the big house.
They'll be playing in the big house. That'll be on Tuesday the 12th. And the next day, Fort Valley State University will be down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, in a bowl game. They'll be playing the Florida bowl game down there, Florida Beach Bowl game. So I just wanted to
very nice.
Say those two things there. And I hope that you all have a great day. And Bailey, she have a great day, too. And we'll talk to you later on it, okay?
Yay, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, too, there. We'll see you. Bye-bye.
All righty.
Okay.
Very, very good.
I think that's the second time in maybe 2 years, 3 years that WMAZ and DirecTV have not meshed. And so maybe they'll get back on there soon.
Yeah, just go online and log in and read it.
Yep. Well, anyway, we're reaching the holiday season, and there's going to be a lot of people traveling. And some of us travel more than others, and those who fly more have no doubt experienced more travel delays that are, in, say, polite terms, frustrating. With the holiday season upon us, there will be a significant increase in airline travel and the occasional frustration that comes with it. If you experience delays or cancellations that cost you money, you instinctively want the airline to reimburse you if it is the airline's fault. But is there a best way to communicate with the carrier when the carrier actually is the cause of the delay or worse, the cancellation? I'm not talking about the travel delays due to the fact of the acts of God, but rather, say, a mechanical issue or a labor shortage like the one we experienced on our recent trip to Quebec, Canada, which caused a 15-hour delay in the Atlanta airport and another delay of 4 hours in the Montreal Canadian airport. Well, a few years ago, a gentleman named Gilbert Ott flew out of London to New York on a budget airline. The flight was delayed until the following day because of mechanical issues. According to the European Union travel rules, he was entitled to a full refund. Well, the airline did not pay Mr. Ott back at first, but they did not know who they were dealing with. See, Ott was an experienced traveler who flew over 200,000 miles per year. And when you fly that many times in a year, you're going to face some situations where you can become extremely frustrated.
So you need to understand that compensation rules for delays and cancellations vary by country, aside from circumstances when the airline is not at fault, such as weather or air traffic control. Airlines in Europe are required to compensate passengers for delays that last more than 3 hours. However, in the U.S., there are no federal rules regarding compensation, so the airlines each have their own rules.
Yep. So once you have a handle on what happened with your flight and what right you have in the location of the delay, then it's time to get in touch with the airline. Ott recommends reaching out to the airline via email and copying an executive like the CEO on the message. Ott says that you want to make sure that it gets to someone who will read it, and a CEO's email is generally monitored by several different people, and they will each be able to act as a liaison on behalf of the leadership. So let's talk about the email. When you draft your message, you need to skip the sob story. Focus on the facts that went wrong and less on the emotions.
So it's one thing to say, I was going to my wedding and you ruined my wedding, but that's one line. You don't have to go into all the how the bridesmaids showed up and you were not there, the cake was there and you weren't, or the hotel, blah, blah, blah. He's just saying, keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
Details don't help. Instead, explain what happened, provide proof, and then very quickly state how it impacted you.
Right. And to give your claim weight, you should get the proof. And there's no better place to get the proof than while you're still at the gate. And providing proof is the key to getting your money back. The more you can share or prove you're right, the better. Obtain names of people that you spoke with at the gate who verified the reason for the delay or cancellation. Ott also suggested documenting the flights that did take off that day. This document will be helpful if the airline tries to claim that the cancellation or the delay is due to extraordinary circumstances. For example, if the airline claims that the flight did not take off due to weather at the arriving airport, proof that other flights to the same destination did depart could help your case.
Ott says that being persistent is vital to success. Keep pushing, he says. Even with an executive email and proof of the issue, Ott said it can be challenging to get compensation from an airline unless you follow up multiple times. When Ott contacted the budget airline that delayed his flight to London 5 years ago, emailing once with proof wasn't enough. His claim was initially denied, he said. After several emails, Ott told the airline that he would reach out to airhelp.com, a service that legally represents passengers all the way to court for a fee or a cut of the earnings. He said the threat was enough for them to approve his claim.
So, if an airline denies your claim, let them know that you intend to pursue it as far as you must, even if it means complaining to the Department of Transportation or taking the complaint to court. We sat next to a gentleman and his wife at a local restaurant in Warner Robins recently and struck up a conversation with them because they were obviously getting ready to go on a cruise. And when you talk to people about travel, eventually you're going to find out about the air fiascos that they have gone through. And he had a good one. He did everything this article talked about. He just used the facts, kept the emotions out of it, and was persistent. And he finally got a full refund and a voucher for a free trip and a drink coupon to boot. So, I think it's a good article, and, we hear too many people when they talk about the travel, they get all the emotional stuff out on the table.
Yes.
But you don't need to do that when you're just trying to get a refund from the carriers.
Excellent. So it's that time of year to start thinking about your New Year's resolutions. The number 1 and 2 resolution I see in lists on this subject are 1, exercise more, and 2, lose weight, which kind of work together. Well, here's some food for thought that you could consider if this is your resolution. New research shows that walking is a good start, but the number of steps you take and the speed are critical. Researchers found that walking faster was associated with a reduced risk of death regardless of the number of steps taken per day. That makes sense, they say, because moderate to vigorous exercise is considered to be the most beneficial when it comes to cardiovascular health. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recommends 150 minutes of moderate intensity activity each week for most adults, or 75 minutes of vigorous intensity activity.
Yeah, we know this is not earth-shattering news, but the report is worth highlighting some of their findings because we want everyone to be healthy, and I'm sure you do too. In 2022, a UK-based study found that the more steps in a day, up to around 10,000, the lower one's risk of dementia, and that walking quickly might lower dementia. Just kind of repeated itself. There was a 2002 study out of Brazil that found that the greater number of steps, daily steps, and the quicker the pace of those steps, the less likely someone was to suffer arterial stiffness. Walking at a pace of around 100 steps per minute, 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, would meet the weekly requirements for moderate exercise for older adults. So,
if that sounds like something you cannot do on a day 1, then modify exercise and work your way up. I ran the numbers on, this sentence is wrong. The numbers on this, and it's pretty amazing how quickly it adds up. A male with a 30-inch stride walking at 100 steps per minute would travel 7,500 feet in 30 minutes, or 1.42 miles. And if you did this for 5 days, you would have achieved 7 miles. We have to get out and try this with a timer, because I can't get my head around it, honestly. 100 steps per minute.
Well, I actually marked it the other day.
Oh, you did?
From opposite corner to opposite corner on our office in Warner Robins.
Outdoors?
Is 100 steps, 110 steps actually, and you did that in less than a minute.
Just one corner to corner on the long way.
Diagonally across the building.
Oh, diagonally.
So from the front left corner of our building to the
Interesting.
back right. Yeah, so.
Interesting. So if you've not exercised in a while, and say your stride is just 15 inches, you can still achieve 3.5 miles in a week.
So, and I put a little metric together on this, but if your stride is 30 inches and your steps per minute is 100, you get 3,000 inches per minute, and multiply, divide that by 12, and that's 250 feet for every 30 minutes. Anyway, it adds up really quick. It's the bottom line. You're going to end up getting, about 1.4 miles in a 30-minute period. It's just fantastic, and you can just play with the numbers. You know how big your stride is, and then you can just create your own little metrics for this. So
I need a ruler. So there was an international study with researchers from the Netherlands, Spain, and the U.S. where data from 111,000 participants was looked at. Among their findings, they found 2,500 daily steps is about the point at which the risk of death was significantly reduced when compared to 2,000 daily steps. I find that amazing. 2,700 daily steps is about the point at which the risk of both fatal and non-fatal cardiovascular disease events like heart attack and stroke were significantly reduced when compared to 2,000 steps. But 7,000 daily steps roughly is the optimal number for those looking to reduce the risk of both fatal and non-fatal cardiovascular disease events. According to popular wisdom, 10,000 is the ideal number of steps to meet per day. The advice originated from Japan in the 1960s. Other studies have offered similar recommendations, including 8,000, 9,000 steps, and it goes on and on and on. Are you kind of done with this article? It's repeating itself an awful lot, it seems like.
Anyway, we wanted to throw this out there because we are getting to the beginning of a new year, and everyone starts making resolutions. And this is if you're looking to get in better shape, just simply walking, getting up out of the chair, and making a concerted effort and focusing on your health. It's just a good way to get started.
And count your steps. See how many steps you do. And if you want a copy of this article, email Randy at rfmoney.com, and he can forward it to you because you might want to read it yourself and make a game plan.
I know. I had an app one time from Under Armour, and you just put the phone in, you set it up, it was free, and you put the phone in your pocket or carry it in your hand, and as you walk, it's tracking your steps, and it's very, very good, very easy to use.
And we used to have those things that we just carry in our pocket or stick on our belt.
Yep.
We used to have
The
those that would
pedometers.
just that would just count your steps as you're walking around. They were dirt cheap.
Well, most everybody has a mobile
Cell
device,
phone.
These nice, with the big screen, and that Under Armour app is just very good, and
it's free.
And it's free, and it actually has a map. So if you're going to go walk around your neighborhood, it shows you all the roads, so you know which way to go. And
I need to look
like
at that.
It's pretty good. So,
okay. Anyways, be careful of where you get your information. We've discussed situations on the show where we meet with people who have taken financial advice from friends, coworkers, or acquaintances on investing and tax advice. Granted, some of these people may have the right answers, but many times people can be incorrect. Unless it is their profession, it is likely they are only providing some of the facts or details. Unfortunately, many are willing to take advice from complete strangers and then act on it. This could be a mistake.
Yeah, one example is our own son, who put all of his money into the G Fund in the TSP because his coworkers told him the stock market was going to crash and he was going to lose all of his money. When he came by the office one day, he mentioned that he put all his money in the G Fund, and Sherri's head spun around like the girl in The Exorcist and almost exploded.
Here he was 20.
Yeah, and here we are, trained in the field, and he listened to coworkers versus his own certified financial planning mom. Why he did not just call and ask us, it's just crazy to us. And needless to say, after Exorcist Sherri spoke with him, he changed his allotment to the C Fund, and he is very happy that he did.
Well, plus he was working with a lot of older people, and they're all scared of losing. But when the market's down, that's when you put more money in because you're going to make more in the long run.
Yep.
Anyways, now this is just one example. Many people are now turning to social media for advice, who too often are providing unreliable tax and investment advice.
Right. Yeah, free is good, right? We talk a lot about saving a few dollars here and there, which can add up to meaningful amounts of money. Well, when it comes to advice about your taxes and your investments, you really need to use caution.
A recent article published by CNBC shows that this is a growing problem. It seems as though too many people are getting tax advice from social media. Slow? Okay. The influencers. Tax advisors interviewed by CNBC say that there is a lot of misinformation being spread by influencers on popular platforms like TikTok.
Right. Forbes Advisor reported that nearly 80% of millennials and Gen Zers have used social media for their financial advice. Some are making tax decisions based on tips received from TikTok videos, which can range from 15 seconds to 3 minutes long, without discussing it with their tax advisors before acting on the advice. Then it's up to the tax advisor to, say, unwind or fix their mistakes. Many times the cost to repair or undo the problems is more than it would have cost just to ask a licensed CFP or tax advisor.
One big issue that has been the flood of influencers pushing small businesses to amend payroll tax returns to claim the employee retention credit, a pandemic-era tax break. Most of the videos on TikTok have a kernel of truth to them, but they're embellished, or it only makes sense in very specific situations.
Yep, and other misleading videos have included tips to form a limited liability corporation or an LLC, to deduct personal expenses, or telling all business owners to hire their children and deduct the wages and create earned income needed to fund a Roth or individual retirement accounts for kids.
Which could be possible and true, and it could not be.
Yeah, but see, they just throw in, they provide this advice, to everyone that's looks at their sites. They're not taking a look at the individual and what their individual circumstances are. And, you can't provide a Roth, an income to your kids if they don't have earned income. And if they're 3 years old, the IRS is going to figure that out. So.
Right. Whether you're receiving tax information from TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, or other social media platforms, experts say it's important to verify information before taking action. The last thing you want is for the IRS to flag your return and generate an audit, because that free advice could cost you a lot of your hard-earned money in the long run. Before you make a costly mistake, talk to a tax professional or call us.
Yeah, and those audits from the IRS or, say, the Labor Department are a lot of fun, aren't they, Sherri?
Oh, they're really fun.
Yeah.
They're really, really nice, friendly people, too.
Yeah, real friendly. Well, you've been listening to Your Money with Randy and Sherri Goss at Rosenberg Financial Group. And if you'd like to call into the show today to contribute to please give us a call at 478-742-0940. Rosenberg Financial Group has offices in Macon and Warner Robins, and you can learn more about us by visiting our website, retirerelax.com. We offer complimentary consultations, and setting up an appointment is really easy. Again, that number is 478-922-8100, and we do offer free seminars to the community, so if you're looking for a guest speaker, please give us a call to discuss what topics you would like for us to cover. Anyway, another hack and another 6.9 million people affected. I was reading this week about another hack which affected nearly 7 million profiles of the 23andMe customers. A new release from 23andMe to the Securities and Exchange Commission said that about 1.1% of the company's users' accounts, or roughly 14,000, had their accounts breached by the hackers. Turns out that was just part of the story. 23andMe is now telling reporters that hackers were able to access 5.5 million profiles that use the company's feature called DNA Relatives that allow users to find genetic relatives. In addition, hackers accessed a subset of the family tree information on 1.4 million DNA relatives profiles. In the case of 23andMe, hackers used old usernames and passwords from other websites to break into 23andMe customers' accounts. It was a rudimentary attack, but it's very effective, and it's called credential stuffing.
This is why you need to change passwords on a regular basis and don't reuse old ones. Get a password manager and keep it current. Like I've said before, don't reuse old passwords. Why? This is how hackers access the 23andMe data. I know it is tough to hear, but we all get sick and tired of the two-factor authentication and changing passwords. We simply let our guard down, and then voila, you're more susceptible to hacking. Right.
23andMe has completed its investigation and is in the process of notifying the affected customers. A statement posted Saturday evening to the company's website says they've taken steps to further protect customer data, including requiring existing customers to reset passwords and requiring two-factor authentication for the new and existing customers. We often tell people that it never hurts to audit yourself once in a while to be sure you have all the data that your spouse or your executor will need to take care of with your accounts after you die. While this is a good exercise, I would also like to add changing your passwords and making them unique and difficult to break. There's a website I visited recently to test your passwords. The site is called betterbuys.com, and you can find many other sites by simply Googling password hacking times. Anyway, there's some staggering information. Too many people just use numbers like 1234 or 123456, and the reported time to hack this password is 0.29 milliseconds. And if you think nine digits is the trick, it's still 0.29 milliseconds. Passwords, the same password is the same, 0.29 milliseconds. And in case you're wondering, there are 1,000 milliseconds in 1 second. So you can see that it takes experienced hackers no time to get into your system if you don't have a strong password. Possibly using that, consider using a phrase that is known only to you. Say something like, "I like my cat." BetterBuys.com password calculates that it would take more than 9 centuries to break this password, probably because it has spaces in between each of the words. Now, once the information is used and then compromised, you're going to need to create a new password phrase. The calculator shows that adding numbers or special characters helps strengthen the passwords. And if you don't think 9 centuries is not good enough in the case of the password, "I like my cat," then consider adding a number. Then the estimated time for this to be hacked is infinity. Remember, this helps if people are trying to hack into your computer. But if your password is compromised from breaches like 23andMe, you need to go change these passwords to protect yourself. But remember, if you get into the habit of having unique passwords on your platforms, on all your platforms, the websites that you are limiting the amount of work you will need to do if your data is compromised.
Very good. So do's and don'ts when you get a windfall of cash. If you suddenly receive a windfall of money, take time to review your financial picture before you start spending. Before we get into this, I want to point out that we have a special report on our website. Go to retirerelax.com, then click on Special Reports, and it is titled For the Instantly Wealthy. is a good report with great information for you to consider when you receive a windfall from a gift or inheritance. Many people look at an inheritance like free money or play money because it didn't have it yesterday and it landed in their lap like manna from heaven. And yes, receiving a large sum of money all at once sounds like a dream come true. But for some, and I'm sure you've heard the stories, it can create a nightmare. The CFP Board of Standards says nearly one-third of lottery winners eventually declare bankruptcy and are more likely to declare bankruptcy within 3 to 5 years. An inheritance carries the same hazards. You must be ready to handle the responsibilities and manage your needs and desires. How sad is it when you see someone receiving a good sum of money and the next thing you see is new cars and ATVs? There's nothing wrong with new cars and ATVs, but could that money have set someone up for life, enable them to retire a little early, or just give them the ability to have better options?
Yep, and the theory used to be that receiving a large chunk of cash basically ruined people and drove them to make bad decisions. But research shows otherwise. Don McNay, a financial advisor and national expert on the habits of lottery winners, says that once people get wealthy, their bad habits only get worse. So receiving a windfall doesn't necessarily change a person. It just amplifies their money habits.
And I've seen this.
Yep.
Money can create strife in a family, especially if one person is a spender and one is a saver. Let's say you get an inheritance of $20,000. Now you and your significant other must figure out how to best allocate this money. First, will there be a dispute over who should spend the money because of the source of the inheritance? How much should the allocation be paid to pay off bills? Should you fund an education account, buy a new car, or take a trip? Enroll in a program so you can get a higher-paying job. There are many ways this conversation could go.
Yeah, and for us, this would be the perfect time to break out the budget and see how we could best allocate the funds and possibly have a little remaining for something fun.
The baby boomer generation is expected to transfer more than $54 trillion in assets to their heirs, according to Yahoo Finance. While most of these inheritances will not be on the scale of the HBO show Succession, it could still be important to create a thoughtful plan for how you will handle an inheritance. And if you have a partner, that includes having a conversation with them to align your priorities. When you're in a partnership, I believe how you manage money, including an inheritance, should be a team decision. In most cases, it tends to lead to better outcomes when you talk things through together.
Yep.
There are a few do's and don'ts to consider if you receive an inheritance. First, don't be impulsive. If you're fortunate enough to receive an inheritance, buy a nice bottle of champagne and make a toast in honor of your benefactor. Then hit the pause button before you start spending. This is a time to reflect. While you're likely to be grieving, don't act emotionally with the money. Consider setting up a time period before you start spending, like 3 months to a year, to give you time to review your financial picture, prioritize your goals, and speak with professionals. You could hold the inheritance in a high-yield savings account or take out a few months' worth to develop a plan of action.
Yep.
And I want to give an example of this. So throughout my career, I've seen a lot of widows that want to give the money away.
Right.
They want to give it all to their children, and it's like, no. Don't even tell them you have it.
We'll talk more about that in just a second.
Great. Good morning. You're on with Randy and Sherri.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
Great. How about you all?
We are
doing
great.
Wonderful.
Got a praise report on airlines.
Okay.
Yay.
Had a death in the family. Contacted Southwest is the airlines.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I have air miles with Southwest.
We do too. We love it. We love the airline.
Contacted them. Now, this was on Monday. The funeral was Saturday. Got a flight, round trip flight, Friday, come back Saturday. $22.40 for 2 adults.
Wow.
Right. The points are just amazing. We use a Southwest card for everything because of that.
The plane, spotless, crew, phenomenal, and it was just a great experience. And I've told this story this was a couple of weeks ago. I told this story to several people, and they said, "Well, I've never even considered Southwest." So I'm not advertising for them as just a company. I'm advertising for them because they give great customer service.
And we agree with you 100%. We've never really had a bad experience with the people that run that airline. It's always been very seamless, very smooth.
And our daughter lives in Colorado, and we've been flying back and forth to see her for free for about 10 years now because of Southwest.
Hey,
for about $20. I mean, I call that pretty much free.
Deaths and major events like that, they're not pre-planned most of the time. They don't have a date. And airlines, right now have been pretty booked up. Did you have any problems? Did they make leeways for you because of the situation?
No, we were able to get a flight, a direct flight, and out of Atlanta. So we didn't really have an issue. It actually was over the Thanksgiving holiday weekend.
Wow.
That's what it was. I actually left Friday. My wife and I left Friday. I came back Saturday. I figured those 2 days wouldn't be very, very bad because people wouldn't really be traveling. We got to Hartsville Airport. It took us an hour and 15 minutes to get to the gate.
Right.
On Friday morning. And then coming back, I came back Saturday. It was seamless Saturday. And then my wife, she came back Monday. And so we kind of maneuvered our time so that and she came back because she wanted to stay a couple of days to visit family and stuff like that. But we kind of maneuvered around the Thanksgiving holiday. We knew that traveling Sunday would probably not be the smartest idea.
Right.
But
good for you.
And one other thing about Southwest, I used to live in Texas, and so this was in the 80s, and they used to have this thing called a peanut fares, and you could fly anywhere in the state of Texas for $25 one way.
Wow.
Yeah, but they were phenomenal then.
Yes.
They were phenomenal then. And what impressed me most was that the planes were super clean. They were stretched 737s. And that's a nice flying plane there. That plane flies very smooth.
Now, do you feel like you get more legroom there? I do.
You do.
Yeah.
You do. And you're not cramped like some of the other airlines, because I've flown all of them over the years.
Yep.
I used to fly every day, so not as a flight attendant or anything, but as an employee of a company. But
wow.
I've been on every one of them, and I can tell you that this was probably the short of flying first class in a flight overseas or whatever else. Other than that, this was probably one of the better flights. And my wife had made the same comments also.
Well,
very nice to hear.
Well, awesome. We would like to hear the kudos.
Good.
Yeah, and I wanted to say that as people listen, because they need to consider the people that are doing good, and we need to praise the people that are doing good for us.
Mm-hmm.
Agree.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to find fault. It's so easy to find fault, and it's hard to find praise. And I just wanted to lift that up today.
Yay. Love that.
Have a blessed Christmas, you all.
Thank
you
you so much.
Thanks for the phone call.
Yeah, we've had the same experience with Southwest. They've just been really, really great every time we've flown. And back in the day, when we got our first credit card with them, they had a stand at the airport, and we stopped and talked to them. And because we signed up for their credit card, we each got free round-trip tickets to anywhere within the United States. Well, the next time we're flying, a few years later, going to a conference, they had another stand. We stopped by, and I said, well, we already have the card. She goes, well, if you upgrade to the next card, you get another 2 free flights. And then we did it a third time, so that was 6 free flights for just changing the color of the credit card.
That's right.
We pay it off every month, and we use it for everything, and we have hundreds of thousands of points right now. And so we can do the same. We can just use the points and fly just for the cost of what you have to pay, the $20 or whatever. It's phenomenal.
That's right.
We've had the same experience, so that was a really good call.
But yes, thanks for that phone call. That was nice.
Yeah, so back to the whole inheriting a bunch of money and feeling like maybe you don't deserve it or maybe your kids could use it more. You really need to stop and give yourself some time to think through this and go see a financial advisor. You can come see me. We don't charge anything for that type of a consultation. And I've seen a lot of widows go through this where they feel like they should give it away.
Yep.
And so the first thing we do is create a budget and look at the household income and the outflow and how much money will they potentially need if they need care someday. That's the big thing that a lot of people don't want to talk about or think about. And so you may want to just make them the beneficiaries and use this money for your lifetime. And then when you pass, then they can inherit and then they can get it and use it. But make sure you take care of yourself first.
That's right. And, you were talking about reviewing your financial picture. If you've got a non-deductible high-interest debt on credit cards, think about putting that at the top of your payoff list. And also, do you have an emergency fund to cover at least 3 months of essential living expenses? If not, add that to your list. The actions you take to ensure your current financial situation is in good order can help set you up for for financial success.
So do reassess your intermediate and long-term goals. Depending on the size of the inheritance, using a fund strategically can help create the financial future you always imagined. Do you want to use a portion of it to help save for a child's education, or save for a down payment on a house, or pay down a student loan?
And are you contributing to your company's retirement plan at a minimum up to the employer's match, or will the inheritance allow you to contribute to the maximum allowed to the tax-advantaged retirement accounts like an individual retirement account, IRA, or 401k? Add these to your list as well.
So go to our website and retirerelax.com, click on special reports, and then go to For the Instantly Wealthy. That is a special report. If somebody in your world is going through this right now, that is a great thing that you can give them to help them stop and think about what they're doing with this windfall that they've just inherited.
That's right. The other thing, too, is that when you receive an inheritance, many feel like they want to do something to honor the decedent. The passing of a loved one is just a very emotional time, and doing something special to honor their person's life can help in the grieving process. Explore ways that you can use a portion of the inheritance to honor your benefactor, whether it's an experience in their memory, like a special family vacation, or a piece of jewelry that signifies their life. So, Sherri, when your father passed away, he left us some cash, and we took a portion of that, and we found the lake house.
And the money came from his lake house. His lake house sold for $600,000, right. So we each of us got $100,000. And so we went out looking for a foreclosure because I wanted something that represented him, that we could enjoy like we enjoyed with him. And that we found a really good fixer-upper foreclosure deal, and that's what we've got.
And it's been nice.
It's been very nice.
We have a nice picture of him hanging on the wall. It's just great. Matter of fact, in the little fishing boat that he used to have. Anyway, don't feel obligated to give others any portion of your inheritance or your winnings. And we're not trying to sound like ogres by saying that, but you've got to make sure that you are taken care of. And we've seen this time and time again where relatives come out of the woodwork asking for the money from the insurance policy, or they know that they got an inheritance and they want a piece of it. And if the person that passed away wanted them to have it, they would have put them on that
That's right.
policy or in the will for that. Some people just feel entitled to it, and others just don't have the money and want you to give your money away to them. So give yourself some time to process your newfound wealth before making a decision regarding money. And if you do want to give somebody money, then do it on your own terms after you've had the time to process and analyze the situation and the money. So,
very good.
And if you want to come see Sherri, just give us a call at 478-922-8100. There's no pressure to become a client, but Sherri can talk through, and Jonathan can talk through some of the situations and things that you need to consider.
Very excellent. So we have a few minutes left. Do you want to talk about CVS a little bit?
Well, 2 minutes? Okay. Bottom line, we won't beat this dead horse, but retail pharmacies are beginning to change their pricing model. And we talked about this about a year ago when we talked about Mark Cuban's pharmacy that he started called Cost Plus Drugs. Anyway, he's the most notable person's name that are trying to upend the pharmacy market. But the bottom line is probably starting in next year and then finishing up in 2025, CVS is converting all of their pharmacies to Cost Plus. Now, don't think that you're going to get rock bottom prices on everything, because in the readings that I've done on this is every drug will only have a markup from who made it on it. So that means that you might get it might not get a price break that CVS has, where they might be averaging the price, making more money on one and less on another, and that can offset these really expensive drug costs. It just means you're going to have to be a better shopper when it comes to your drugs. And Sherri, what's that website that you tell people to go to? GoodRx?
Good memory. GoodRx.com, and you can download the app on your phone, and all you have to do is put in your city that you live in, city and state, and you type the drug into GoodRx, and it tells you the price at every pharmacy in town.
Okay.
So you can figure out where to go to have it refilled for the cheapest price.
Hopefully you can save some of your money by doing that. And thanks for listening to Your Money, produced by Rosenberg Financial Group. As financial advisors, the main thing that we do is provide retirement planning advice and manage our clients' investment accounts. If you're looking for a financial advisor, please contact our office and set up your complimentary consultation. The office number is 478-922-8100, and you can learn more about us by visiting our website, retirerelax.com. And if you have questions or a topic you'd like for us to cover in next week's broadcast, email me at randy@rfmoney.com, and we look forward to connecting with you next week. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Osaic Wealth Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Osaic Wealth is separately owned, and other entities and or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of Osaic Wealth.